It's Beth Norman-Roberts. Pull out your inks. We're going to get inky today. I have some gold foil if you have some. If you don't have gold, you can use silver. We're going to make a very elegant card for you today. Let's get started.
To begin, I'm using the 22 to 2024 in colors, Starry Sky, Tahitian Tide, and Orchard Oasis. We'll open up the pads. Bring out your sponge roller, and we are going to sponge the color on in one direction, and we're going to make it variegated. If you do not have a sponge roller, you can certainly use your brushes. I just want to have a straight line. Oops, getting away on me. Next, we are going to use Orchard Oasis. I go in one direction so that you don't see any lines. You can see here I pressed a little heavy and you can see a little bit of a line. Now I'm going to use Starry Sky. It's the darkest, so I want to get it nice and dark here on the bottom. Once you have it inked, you take a little bowl of water and we're just going to splatter a little bit of water drops. You can do as little or as much as you'd like. I like a lot. The water is now dry on my cardstock. You can use a heat gun if you want to. I tend to let my products dry by air. So we're going to put this aside for a moment, and I'm going to introduce the die that matches with this set, and it's called Seaside Seashells. That's quite a mouthful to say, isn't it? So this is the one large piece that we're going to use today. Friends Are Like Seashells is the stamp set that goes with this die and the embossing folder. And here you can see it comes along, the die set comes along with some of the dies for the seashells. This is a beautiful die, and if you look on Pinterest, you'll find a lot of beautiful inspirational photos. So I'm going to take some gold foil, and I'm going to go die cut it, and I'll be right back. So here is what I got when I cut with some gold foil. Isn't it already looking stunning? We're going to emboss it, dry embossing with Seashells 3D embossing folder. And it is quite easy to see how we want to emboss. Standardly, just as a little refresh, popping up side where you see the bumps raise is the wrong side. And then we put the gold foil part that we want to use where it's going to raise. The easiest thing to remember here is just see this Stampin' Up! Little logo? That's on the top. The easiest way to make sure everything aligns beautifully is to turn over your folder, align it like you think it should be aligned, and then turn it over. Oh, excuse me. Turn it over, and then we're just going to double check to see that everything is in alignment. And if it's not, then we will just play with it a little bit. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to go emboss this, and I'll be right back. Here is the completed piece. It's beautifully embossed, isn't it? It's so elegant. And what we're going to do is we are going to mount it to your brayered background. We're going to glue it. Or if it's a smaller piece of cardstock, here you see that I left it just white. We will mount it, but after we put the mat on. So I'm going to come back after I'm all finished with my gluing. Okay, it's time to glue. And just glue. Make sure you capture all the edges so that it's glued down well. taking a tissue, I just press it down. There, we can now add a sentiment. I'm going to use For You from the stamp set and Starry Sky for the sentiment. I have an old tag that has retired. And I thought it would be fun to put a little bit of twine through there and put the sentiment on. I have coordinating Tahitian tied twine, and I'm going to take some of that. Now, if you don't have a tag, that's fine. Just use whatever die you have on hand and pick a sentiment. I'm not quite sure who's getting these yet, so I'm just putting For You on it, and then I'm going to leave the inside of my card blank. There we go. Cute little tag. I'm going to use my pop-up dot, and I'll add that as soon as I have my card glued to the back. Now this is my 4 1/4 by 8 1/2 scored at 4 1/4. And there is the finished card. It's a very quick card, so it's one that I will do over and over again. We have an enormous amount of foils in the new catalog, so take a peek at that and see what you would like to have. There's brush gold foil and black. We have a lot of variations. There's a large assortment of foils in our new catalog. We have rose gold and brush metallic, silver with some blackish gray, more foils, distress gold. So you can pick any one of those and put it onto your card. It's going to look beautiful no matter what you use. In the current catalog, we have opal rounds. They have a little bit of sparkle in them, but it resembles water bubbles, so I'm just going to add a few of those. If these go in the mail, you want to put a piece of cardstock over top so these go through the mail system okay. And there's the finished card. I mentioned in my introduction that I had something for you. Are you tired of always having leftover scraps and you just don't know what to do with them? Well, it is a shame not to be able to use all the gold foil. You cut it for 2 cards, but there's just a little sliver of paper left. Here I have a piece of gold foil and I have a die. The smaller piece that is left from your 12 by 12, we're going to use it. This is a piece of full size. This is what the dimensions roughly were for the smaller. I took my die, flip it upside down, and there I cut. Now, if you want to make sure that the edges butt up just against the gold foil there, then you'll be able to get the widest part of your gold foil. Because if you try to cut it after, it's impossible. So place your die where you would like to have it and just cut the whole thing. And then this is how it ends up turning up. There's a nice straight line. So I'm going to show you how I finished my card. I did use the piece that I did earlier off camera, and I'm going to use my white. And I'm going to glue that on. Butting it up against the edge. I'm going to cut off pieces that are overhanging. Isn't that cute? We still are able to complete a card with our little scrap. Here's a piece of Night of Navy at 4 1/4, 5 1/4 by 4. Starry Sky at 3 3/4 by 5. And my brayered cardstock was on 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. So these are going to be double matted, and we'll be back. I'm going to add a sentiment. Let's put it up top for this one. Or actually, I think I'm going to put it, once you get those stickies down, it's hard to put back, and I did rip the foil, so we'll just leave it there. These opal rounds are going to go on this card as well. And I think I'll put one right on, right here. Here are our 2 finished cards. They look so pretty. Thank you for watching. I am so thankful you're here. And please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Stay tuned for another video. Bye-bye.